Just one sentence, and suddenly you start to doubt yourself. And the worst part is, it's said by the person you trust the most. In that moment, a knot forms in your stomach, but you can't quite understand why. You feel as if you're the one to blame. Today, we're going to learn what those sentences are and why they are so powerful. That feeling of confusion you get when you hear these sentences isn't for nothing. This is a psychological game. The goal is to shatter your reality and take control. You're not the only one experiencing this. Millions of people are subjected to this invisible abuse by the people they trust the most. Believe me, I once spent days eating myself up, wondering, am I the problem? And I realized that the person I trusted the most had made me doubt myself. That's why I know exactly how you feel. So, why is this so effective? Manipulation comes like a whisper, but it creates a storm in your mind. It usually comes from those closest to us, the people we trust most, which makes it even harder to recognize. Its purpose isn't always malicious. Sometimes it stems from people's own insecurities or their need for control. But the results are always the same. It undermines your reality, causes you to doubt yourself, and takes away your power. Now, don't get me wrong. Our purpose here is not to label people as bad or toxic. The real issue is about protecting your own mental clarity and your priceless peace of mind. Think of this information as a tool that strengthens your emotional intelligence, a shield to make you safer and more prepared in life, never a sword for judgment. This is entirely about understanding and protecting yourself. If you're ready, let's talk in depth about the 3 favorite phrases of a manipulator and what you can do about them. Let's examine these 3 sentences together. And once you hear them, you will never be the same again. Phrase 1. You're being too sensitive. You're overreacting. You've surely heard this expression before. You voice something that hurt your feelings, and instead of an apology or understanding, you're met with this cold wall. This is one of the most classic and destructive examples of emotional invalidation. This is what gaslighting is. They make you feel so skillfully guilty that in the end, you start to believe the problem really is you. Their goal is simple: to shift the responsibility from themselves directly onto you. They label your completely legitimate and valid emotional response as excessive or wrong. They shift the topic from their flawed behavior to your supposed instability. What they're really saying is, my behavior is normal, your reaction is abnormal. Therefore, the problem isn't me, it's you. Over time, this tactic can break your own emotional thermometer and is one of the most effective ways to evade responsibility. This sentence builds up, and eventually it makes you doubt yourself. And the worst part is, this happens so slowly you can't even notice. It echoes inside you like a sinister inner voice. Does this sound familiar to you? You start to believe your own feelings are untrustworthy. The next time you feel something, you start to censor yourself, thinking, am I overreacting again? This slowly leads you to disconnect from your inner world and suppress your emotions. This is one of the greatest betrayals a person can commit against themselves. Stand firmly behind your own emotional truth. Because if you don't defend it, no one else will. Without panicking or getting defensive, responding calmly and clearly is the most powerful response. You can say, you may think I'm being sensitive, but that doesn't change the fact that what you said hurt me. I want you to see the effect of your actions on me, not my reaction. This response brings the focus back to where it belongs, their behavior, and makes it clear that your feelings are not up for negotiation. Phrase 2. If you really loved, cared about me, you would. This is the pinnacle of emotional blackmail. When you set a healthy boundary, when you say no to something you're not comfortable with, this sentence is aimed at you like a weapon. Your love is used as a currency against you. This expression is guilt-tripping and emotional bullying. They twist your perfectly reasonable boundary into proof that you don't love them. It's a cruel test designed to make you prove your love by violating your own boundaries. It turns the relationship from an unconditional bond into a transactional one. The message is clear. What I want matters. What you need, not so much. If you don't satisfy me, then you are unloving and selfish. This sentence makes you feel instantly guilty, selfish, and indebted. It forces you into an impossible choice. You either violate your own values and boundaries, or you admit that you don't love or don't care about them. This situation severely damages your self-esteem and traps you in a constant cycle of trying to please others. In the long run, you may lose the ability to say no and start to completely ignore your own needs. Don't take the bait. Separate their demand from your love for them. You can protect your boundary while still affirming your love. A response like this is extremely effective. I love you, and I really want you to know that. However, what you're asking for isn't right for me, and you should know that my decision on this will not change. This sentence defeats their game because it both expresses your love and clearly states that your boundary is no longer up for discussion. Phrase 3. I'm sorry you feel that way. This sentence usually comes up in the most difficult moments when you confront them with a mistake they've made. At first glance, it seems like an innocent apology, but don't be fooled. It is not. This is an expression that is completely devoid of sincerity, empty, and meaningless. At its core, it's nothing more than a polished escape route designed to avoid responsibility. Look closely. This isn't about what they did. It's all about how you feel. That's the deflection. The apology is not for the act, but for the emotional reaction you had to the act. What they are really saying is, I'm not sorry for what I did. I'm sorry that your emotional reaction to it is inconveniencing me, and I want this situation to be over. They act as if the very fact that you're feeling is the problem. That's the real issue. You feel unheard, dismissed, and completely ignored. This phrase builds an invisible wall between you. It eliminates any chance for a real solution and connection. Hearing this fake apology over and over sends you the message that your feelings are a nuisance. In time, you may stop voicing your problems because you learn that you won't receive genuine understanding or responsibility in return. Recognize this phrase for what it is, a deflection. Do not accept it as an apology. You can calmly say, this isn't about how I feel. It's about what happened. Can you take responsibility and apologize for what you did? This direct question brings the focus back to action and accountability, and it doesn't allow them to hide behind their false courtesy. Did someone come to mind as you read these sentences? Perhaps a parent, a partner, a friend, or a boss. Remember how those conversations made you feel. They made you feel guilty, but deep down, a quiet voice inside you whispered, "No, you're not wrong." That's the voice. That is your most reliable guide, your inner radar. If any of these hit close to home, just drop a "Yes, I have" below. We're not just breaking the silence, we're breaking the cycle. Let's support each other. You can be a light for someone who once questioned themselves because of these sentences by sharing this video with them. Also, share with us in the comments. How do you plan to use this information in your life? Once you can name these patterns, they start to lose their power over you. Remember, stay wise, stay aware, and always trust that quiet voice inside you. Because that voice wasn't just warning you, it was keeping you alive.